Good morning everybody, I am Sarah with the trains and once again I'm here at Norwich Station ready to head off on another railway adventure. Today I'm going to be heading back off to the East Midlands. Our first stop of the day is going to be Nottingham, so let's go get the train. We have now made it to Nottingham. I would have filmed my train going out, but the platform was incredibly crowded. I think there's some football going on somewhere today. So it wasn't possible for me to do that. Things have quietened down now though. So this station isn't the original Nottingham station. The original Nottingham station opened on the other side of Carrington Street in 1839. It was opened by the Midland Counties Railway. In 1844, along with two other railway companies, that formed the Midland Railway. In 1848, after lines to Lincoln had been opened, as well as the line from Nottingham to Derby, the station that they had wasn't big enough for purpose, so they opened this station, the current station. Although it's not the original station building, because the station was rebuilt in 1904 after the Great Central Railway opened Nottingham Victoria, because there were actually three stations in Nottingham at one point, the other one being Nottingham London Road. There is actually some quite complicated history with regards to the Poacher Line, as we now know it, coming to Nottingham. There's quite a lot of rivalry, some warfare you might even say, between the Midland Railway and the Great Northern Railway, with the Ambergate, Nottingham, Boston and Eastern Junction Railway sort of in the middle. I'm actually going to hand over to narration Sarah to explain that, because it is extremely complicated, but I think it's worth addressing. The Ambergate, Nottingham, Boston and Eastern Junction Railway had running powers allowing them to use the Midland Station in Nottingham. In 1846 and 1847, the Great Northern Railway tried to acquire the Ambergate Company. In 1851, the Midland Railway also tried to acquire the company in order to preserve its monopoly in Nottingham, but also failed. Key to the defeat of the Midland's bid to get hold of the Ambergate Company was Graham Hutchinson. He was a large Great Northern Railway shareholder who realised how important the Ambergate Company would be in competition with the Midland Railway. Having a large amount of shares in the Ambergate meant that he could defeat the Midland Railway's attempt to acquire it, but when the GNR made another amalgamation offer, he could ensure it was accepted. The Midland Railway were not to be defeated so easily though, and obtained an injunction to prevent the GNR working Ambergate traffic. With the opening of its Towns line in 1852, the GNR advertised through running from King's Cross to Nottingham, the route being far quicker than the Midland Railway's route via Derby. When the first GNR train pulled into the Midland station, the Midland locomotives that had preceded and followed the train in from Colwick trapped the intruding locomotive, ejecting the driver and locking the loco in a shed for 7 months, having also lifted the track. The Midland Railway claimed that the GNR was going against the injunction. The GNR rebutted that the Ambergate Company had actually hired the locomotive. The Ambergate complained that the Midland Railway were obstructing their locomotives and that they had threatened to expel their booking clerk from the station. The Midland tried and failed to get a further injunction to prevent the Ambergate Company using their station. They did, however, harass the company enough to the extent the Ambergate had to transport goods to Colwick, outside of Nottingham, by cart. In 1854, the Ambergate Company was leased to the GNR for 999 years from the 2nd of April 1855. In 1857, a new station in Nottingham opened, Nottingham London Road. This served an independent line parallel to the Midland Railway's line from Colwick. This station was the headquarters of the Ambergate Company, which was operating as the Nottingham and Grantham Railway and Canal Company from 1860, until grouping in 1923 brought it under the LNER. By 1900 it had lost most of its services to Nottingham Victoria and was used more as a goods depot than for passenger traffic. The last passenger services from London Road were transferred to Victoria in 1944. The railways have been credited with allowing the industries in Nottingham to diversify and reach national markets. The likes of Boots Pharmacy and Raleigh Bicycles may not be the household names they are today without the railways. I did also read the same said of Players cigarettes, but them being spread around the nation wasn't such a good thing. Remember kids, smoking is bad for your health. Sadly, Nottingham hasn't been without its share of tragedy. In 1896, a locomotive hit some empty fish trucks, causing one of them to rear up, hit the roof of the station and cause a very large chunk of it to fall down and injure 6 people that were on the platform. In 1939, it was also the victim of an IRA attack along with 7 other stations in the country. There was a bomb left in a suitcase that exploded, breaking the glass roof off the cloakroom and blasting away the inquiry office. In 2018, there was sadly a fire at Nottingham Station. The fire service were called to a fire in the ladies' toilets. It was treated as arson by the British Transport Police, and in 2019 a woman was jailed for 2 years after admitting to accidentally starting a fire in one of the bins whilst using illegal substances. As a thank you for their hard work on the day of the disaster, the East Midlands Trains Company, because it wasn't East Midlands Rail back then, named a Class 43 locomotive Nottinghamshire Fire and Rescue and British Transport Police Nottingham in honour of those 2 services. Now we've had that little station history, let's go and have a look at the facilities we've got here at Nottingham today. We have got a full 9 platforms, although 2 of these are actually for the Nottingham trams. As you can see, I am currently on a wonderful island platform. Got plenty of benches on the platforms here, and we've got the bus shelter style waiting shelter with a grit bin right next to it. Over there we've got the station buildings. These are grade 2 star listed. These are the buildings that I was talking about that were built in 1904 by the Midland Railway. Plenty of station signs here at Nottingham. More benches, as I'm sure you'd expect, and more bus shelters and grit bins. We've got dot matrix displays and departure screens all over the place. Lovely canopies to shelter under. Ooh, home of Nottingham Trent University. More departure screens and information. The induction loop system for people who use hearing aids. We also have accessibility ramps, a waiting room, signpost to the way out and toilets, various vending machines dotted around. Needless to say, there's flappy plastic bins, the cafe shop, quite a few clocks here as well, but it is not 12 o'clock, it's actually about 10:15. Up there we've got the footbridge. I think we'll go have a wander over that in a second. We also have lifts to provide level access to the other platforms and to the exit. Out here we've got the beautiful old station building from 1904. Being an EMR station, obviously we've got plenty of things with the lovely miles on them. Heading off this way we can get to the tram stop. And here we are, the 2 platforms for the trams. So one big issue I've got today is that the other station I want to visit, Netherfield, has a very, very sparse service. It has one train really early in the morning and then a few in the later afternoon. So I've got quite a bit of time to kill here at Nottingham. Now, one idea would be to run off to Stoke-on-Trent, have a cup of tea with my mother and come back. However, I have not really explored much of the East Midlands yet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head off and film another video, and then I'll see you back here to go to Netherfield later in the day. Just quickly, I've got a little friend that I've got travelling around with me at the moment, and I haven't introduced him yet. This is my little bunny rabbit. He's going to be keeping me company on some of my journeys. I haven't got a name for him yet. However, I think you agree, because I'm not crazy at all. We're going to call him Brian. Brian the bunny rabbit. I know you're not camera shy. So after that brief break to go and film other things, I am now back at Nottingham Station, ready to go to our next station of the day, which is going to be Netherfield, which is very little served. To 17416 heading off to Skegness. I can't even cut that out to put it in the outtakes. I have made it to Netherfield. I first travelled between Nottingham and Norwich in 2009, and this is the first time I've been on a train that stopped here. It really is not served a lot at all. My options for coming here today were to get up extremely early and get a train at 5:48 from Norwich that would bring me to Netherfield, or do what I have done, go to Nottingham, explore a little bit of the rest of the East Midlands for the day, and then late in the afternoon come to Netherfield, because it's only served at peak times. Now, this station's had a few changes of name. When it opened in 1878, it was known as Colwick. In 1883 it was changed to Netherfield and Colwick. In 1901 it was changed to Netherfield. In 1925 it was changed back to Netherfield and Colwick, and then in 1974 it was changed for a final time to plain old Netherfield. 50 yards to the east of Netherfield there's a junction with the now disused line to Gedling. This bridged the line to Lincoln and ended at Gedling Coal Mine. One thing that gets in my mind when I go past Netherfield is Jane Austen, because I'm pretty sure there's a Netherfield in Pride and Prejudice. One thing that's worth pointing out at Netherfield is that there is another station, Carlton. I think it's only about 8 minutes walk away, so that's probably why this station isn't that well served, because if people are trying to get from this area into Nottingham, they can just go to Carlton instead. Now, as we've got a bit of time on our hands until the next train to get me to Grantham, let's have a run round and rundown of the station facilities here at Netherfield. We have got this enormous island platform. Platform 2, this one, is going away from Nottingham, and platform 1, this one, is going towards Nottingham. We've got station signs, cycle parking, a bench, which I won't be sitting on at the moment because it's wet because it's been raining, a very rusty structure which I believe is supposed to be a waiting shelter, but let's go around the other side and find out. On the way to the waiting shelter there is a ticket machine which doubles up as a departure screen, which is always very much appreciated. we've got the induction loop, flappy plastic bin, an empty Stella can, and the lovely, rusty waiting shelter with bench. We don't have a yellow line, but we do have the good old tactile paving. So this area under the road bridge is all closed off, boarded up, and that section of the platform is blocked off. Although I can see that on the other side of that barrier there is a grit bin. There is also a grit bin here. There isn't an official fence to block it off, but there is a sign that says passengers must not pass this point or cross the line. Although that doesn't seem to have stopped the people who've done the graffiti. There's also a help point, information signs. Let's look at the train timetable. I know I've already told you it's very sparse, but let's have a look. Okay, so where's Netherfield? Here's Netherfield. Monday to Friday. There's one going towards Nottingham at 23 minutes past 8 at night, and there's 3 early in the morning going away from Nottingham Monday to Friday. There's one at 8:54, 15:52, 16:53, 17:56, 19:54. Saturdays heading to Nottingham, you've got 16 minutes past 6, 7:41 or 8:29. Heading away from Nottingham you've got 8:50. In the evening you've got one going to Nottingham at 20:18, and heading to Skegness you've got 15:52, 16:52, 17:51. On Sundays, one to Nottingham at 9:36, 11:54, 13:15, and then going away from Nottingham you've got 16:57 and 17:55. As you can see, this station is below road level, and sadly the only access to the station is steps, so there's no level access here at Netherfield. So I've already mentioned Carlton Station, which is really close. I've looked it up on Google Maps and it says it's about a 6-minute walk from here. So what I'm going to do, I am going to time myself on the way to Carlton Station and see how long it takes me to get there. Is the 6 minutes accurate? And we'll start the timer from the top of the steps at Netherfield. From the top of the steps at Netherfield to the platform at Carlton, I managed to do it in 6 minutes 5.81 seconds, and that included going across a couple of zebra crossings as well, so we lost a few seconds there. So 6 minutes is pretty accurate, and we're just in time to see a train come through. One 170-533 and 170-507, and that train has come from Crewe heading to Newark Castle. The level crossing's going down again. Time for another train. I assume it's coming from the opposite direction. That was 170-508 heading off to Leicester. So now that we've concluded that it is a really short walk from Netherfield to Carlton, I'm going to head back to Netherfield to await my train to Grantham. On the walls at the entrance to the station on the bridge, there is some very pretty artwork, and also the lovely station sign. Ah, the train going to Norwich. Couldn't it have just paused and picked me up? Pretty sure I said that at Elton and Alston as well. I am back here at Netherfield, and while I wait for my train, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you everybody so much for watching. Thank you to everybody who likes, comments, subscribes. Special thanks to people who donate to me on Ko-fi, channel members and patrons. Channel members and patrons, your names will be on screen in a minute. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, drop a like, drop a comment, and consider subscribing if you want to see more from me. I'll see you all next time for another railway adventure. Bye. As always, a special thank you to everybody who is named on screen. You really do keep this channel going. If you're interested in becoming a patron or a channel member, the links to do so are in the description below. I almost forgot to say, it's also goodbye from Brian, my little bunny rabbit friend who rated that drop down tray on the Turbo Star and also rated the window ledge. He says see you next time too.